Hello, Lynette here. I wanted to talk about something that I'm going on a limb on, and hopefully I don't lose some of you because you think I'm crazy. But I wanted to kind of talk about this for a while, and I thought it would be sort of lighthearted to do it today, and that is the Q movement. Some of you may not be aware of what the Q movement is. It started, I think I have it right, in September of 2017, so it's just over a year old. And this person, we're going to call Q a he, just because the written word speaks in a man's voice, as far as I can tell, and everybody else refers to him as he, and it could be even more than one person, but Q is spoken of as a singular he. And he posts on these two obscure, actually I think there's several, but that I know of, as 8chan and 4chan, these websites that are, and the postings are very, they remind me of old email structure. Like if you remember 20 years ago when email was first starting, it'd be typed in this really, as letters, but everything was just a little bit odd. There was markings and it was real cold and clinical. That's how these come across. And they're written in cryptic questions for the most part. There's little tidbits of military jargon that intersperse that makes you think that this person comes from a military background. And the things that we think that we know about Q are that he's very close to the president. Every so often somebody will ask, is it Donald Trump? But it doesn't really get much traction mostly because of the way this person speaks. But we know that he's close to him because a lot of little coincidences have happened. There's been photographs posted from inside Air Force One looking out the window, which I don't see how you would get that picture unless you were inside Air Force One taking a picture. And there's tweets that are, Donald sends a tweet out at 4:17 on Tuesday, and at 4:17 on Tuesday, Q sends a tweet that somehow references that Donald Trump tweet. And that's happened a whole bunch of times. There's, one of the better ones is this photograph taken, this might be a year, within the last year, of Donald Trump with like 8 people behind him and a couple of people sitting. He's sitting at his desk, right? And he's looking at the camera. And then these people are behind him and close. They've kind of come in close to him on either side. And they're all giving a thumbs up. And somebody took this thumbs up and they connected the points, the ends of your thumb, and they drew a Q. And you say, well, that could be done easily. Except a lot of these people in this photograph are holding their thumbs in a weird spot, like over here or up high or way down low, very unnatural positions. So it makes you wonder. It's kind of interesting. Donald Trump signed a photograph of somebody at one of his rallies a couple months ago with a plus mark and then these brackets around it, which Q uses brackets a lot to delineate. I don't really understand that. See, I don't even understand this. But it means something. And Q plus is maybe Donald Trump. And so Donald put the plus in there. And then Q posted a thing saying that the picture will prove the answer. And nothing was said. Q had no way of knowing about this photograph being taken with, hundreds, thousands of people at this rally. So just all these little things that really, really tie Q to the president. Q t-shirts weren't allowed at a lot of the rallies that Donald had during the midterms. And that was kind of weird. Why is anybody taking this conspiracy theory seriously? So the media just laughed at it for the longest time. In fact, they didn't even talk about it. It was just not even there. And then they started kind of scoffing, And then all of a sudden, they're saying mean things about it. And why would you do that if it's a conspiracy theory, if it's a joke? Why would you bother to give it credence by, every time you validate something by making fun of it? That makes you wonder. And I Googled what, some top conspiracy theories were, and it was kind of interesting. One, of course, the recent one is the Obama birther conspiracy, that he wasn't born in America. I think that's been pretty well debunked. I'd love it if it was true, but I think he probably was born in America. The other one's the Illuminati. The world is run by the Illuminati, which the phrase that we are familiar with is globalists, and they're one and the same. And they want one world order, and they want, domination of the masses. They want to crunch them down into destroy nationalism and have open borders. And wow, gosh, that sounds familiar. That sounds real. But that's called a conspiracy theory. I believe in that one. That 9/11 was an inside job. Boy, I could probably be talked into that, but I've never really let myself fall down that rabbit hole. But that's a big one. The JFK, of course, assassination was probably the most famous one in our lifetime. He was killed by 3 Russians standing on a car that drove by. I don't even know. I've never paid any attention to that one, because I think at this point the odds of it being proven one way or the other are so small that it's kind of like, why worry yourself? I have a lot of juicy ones right now that I can worry about. The alien kidnapping people, that's been going on for decades. And, you get taken up to the spaceship, and you have probes and all sorts of very strange things done to you. And personally, I think that you have to, where there's smoke, there's fire. If you have so many people through the years that have said this have happened to them, just kind of ordinary people. These people aren't psychotic or schizophrenic or crazy or on drugs. They're just regular people. What kind of motivation would they have to make up a story like this? Makes you wonder. I haven't formed an opinion on that, but I'm certainly not going to say that that's absolutely just stupid. And then that the moon landing was a fake. There again, I've never been particularly interested in space, so that one has not tweaked my interest at all. But there's plenty of very intelligent people that look at that and go, well, here, I'll show you why that's true. It's completely faked. I don't know. Again, what motivation would the U.S. government have to do that? Be a lot of people you have to keep saying. I mean, you could talk back and forth on all this stuff. But the Q thing is happening right now. It's only over a year old. And what Q is saying is that there are sealed indictments for literally thousands of people across America of political persuasion for their criminal acts. Not just Hillary Clinton, but we're talking all over the country. And that the courts are being set up right now for this extra load, and supposedly all these unsealing of these indictments and the arrest of these people is supposed to be happening pretty quickly. So if you're not a Q fan, maybe you've heard of him, go online and go to YouTube and put in Q or QAnon, and you will have your choice of people who they decode his stuff. And the one I like the best is Praying Medic. His website, his channel was taken off, but I think it's back up again. I know that I will put in the description a link to his most recent one. He has this marvelous voice. And he doesn't do a lot of explaining. He more just shows you what these posts are. A lot of people with their channels do a lot of explaining. And that's both helpful and confusing and kind of weird. And it sort of depends on if you want a woman to be talking to you or a man to be talking to you. There's at least a dozen that are strictly Q decipherers. So there's a lot of stuff for you to look at. Don't be upset with me. But the thing is, if this stuff is really happening now, I think it'd be more fun for you to go, I knew about that. Wow. Because you look back at, say, Pearl Harbor. People, we just celebrated the 77th anniversary of it. And the people that were walking around in Pearl Harbor and working on those ships and living there, they didn't know that the next day their lives were going to be changed forever. And they didn't know that they were going to be part of something especially the military, that would change the world forever. And yet that was the truth. And that one day something happened. And here's my personal conspiracy theory. We are living in the midst of something that is going to change our lives forever. I don't really know what it is, but I see the upheaval in Europe and the strife that's going on in America, the division in America. I see it as something that is a whirling vortex, and we can either watch it or we can say, I'm gonna jump in and be part of it. And this Q thing is kind of part of that. It's like saying, no, this is happening. You have to be prepared. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.